Sunday afternoon and I'm headed through the gorge between North Carolina and Tennessee on I-40. And in this episode of Crusty the Wonder Wagon on the Vehiculations channel, I'll be visiting a fellow Toyota van owner by the name of Tommy Clapp, who's doing a bunch of custom work on his Toyota van to be shown at the Overland Expo East up in Virginia, 2019. So he's doing a whole bunch of work on his vehicle, building custom bumpers, bike racks, tire mounting points. Gonna redo the back, make it into a camper, and I'm gonna drive over and check it out. He's gonna also be changing his auto switching hubs for his 4x4 into manual hubs. And that's one of the main reasons I'm going, because I wanna see how you do that. So glad you're able to join me, check out what we're up to. Who knows, maybe I'll be able to do some of these trips in the future, visit a few other Toyota van owners and see what they're up to as well. I'll see you when I get there. So I made it into Tennessee and Crusty drove great coming across the country roads. Beautiful. It is a beautiful place out here. Tommy's got himself a wonderful setup. So we're gonna take you in here and let you see what he's got going. Of course it's hot. You can see the dogs. Found a shady spot. So Tommy is going to be working on a project with his hubs. Tell us what you're doing, buddy.
So the automatic locking hubs that Toyota has, a lot of times they either quit locking up over time, or there's the dreaded random lock where they'll lock when you're driving down the highway and detonate either your front axle or your at least your CV axle. And so going to a set of Toyota manual hubs solves that problem, makes it really easy, and what's nice is all the parts to do this are readily available.
Cool.
So it shouldn't be too much.
So you can literally be driving along and they'll just blow up? They'll lock?
Yeah, so that's happened a few times. I've read a few kind of horror stories, both on 4Runners as well as one van story.
God.
And if it locks, if they both lock and it puts pressure into the driveline, it can cause all sorts of damage.
Whoa.
So you can drive with the manuals locked and it's no big deal.
Right.
But
my dad leaves his locked all the time and I'm like, I don't think you're supposed to do that.
Doable, not as good on gas, but definitely, you know, more wear and tear. In this case, they're not designed to do that. And if they do, and the most common is that the clutch packs give and then you think you're in four-wheel drive and you're really not. I've driven this around my farm a few times and tested the four-wheel drive, and I think mine are still locking, but I'm to a point where I'd rather be safe than sorry.
You don't want to take that chance.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and these are really, like you said, Rock Auto's got them, right?
Yeah, Rock Auto, and I mean, you still could order them from Toyota Direct if you wanted to, so there's a couple of options. So I have the website 4x4 Wire has this kind of laid out, so I'm going to have that up on my phone, and we'll just kind of go through it step by step, but the first part is just to pop off your front cover.
Okay, cool.
And if you're curious, this is a 5 Allen key. These are 12 millimeter, and I always try to, I know you don't have to, but I still break them off in a star pattern similar to you would do your lug. And I do know you want to tighten in that because they're cone washers, and we'll be reusing these nuts and cone washers, so lock the hub. Also, sometimes do this number if they need to be.
Oh, gotcha.
And it'll kind of pop the cone washer free.
You'll press it off almost.
It will, yeah. Let's see if we can. Wow, it is tight. Not a single cone washer is moving. Aha! Got one.
Oh, cool.
2, 3, 4.
Oh, sweet. So they all popped at once.
Almost.
So it's these guys. These are the cone washers that go in there that were such a bear to come out. And so this is success.
And once they're off, this will pull free.
And there's that.
Oh, let's remove that clutch. Difference between auto and manual.
Oh, gotcha.
The manual has a retention bolt for the clutch pack. I don't know that we reuse this guy because we use the
Oh, okay.
large washers.
There it is.
Yeah. He actually looks in really good shape. So you can see your clutch packs, how they expand.
Right.
They slide over.
Okay.
We're just gonna clean up in here just a little bit to get this out of here. But the grease all looks pretty good.
It's not all burnt up or chunky.
Mm-mm. So now we need to remove the inner clutch pack.
So just to reiterate again, right now you're grabbing and trying to pull out the, is it a retaining ring?
Yeah, it's just a snap ring
Okay.
that is to retain the inner clutch pack.
It's almost like a spring.
It is, yeah. And so this is what creates the pressure to hold the hub when it's engaged.
And are you reusing that, or is that...
No, this
that's
guy-
actually only for an auto?
That should be just for the auto.
So how is the auto actuated? Is it electric? Is there a motor, or is it pressure
It's
controlled?
supposed to be, you know, on these I'm not 100%. It depends on the vehicle. Some are pneumatic. like
You're
vacuum
pushing
one.
a button?
When you push a button, it essentially engages, whether that's through vacuum or electric. And modern four-wheel drive use essentially this same setup. They've just done a good job at getting better at it. We just have another retention spring here that I'm having trouble getting. When I open it up, if you can get underneath it,
Yep.
or
That's enough. Okay. I am under. I'll just keep pressure on it.
yeah, hang tight. See if it'll let us.
Yes.
That's what we were looking
Let me work my way around.
for. Yep. And I'll just keep back pressure as you do that. Good catch.
Yep. There it is.
That's your clutch. So you see the little clutch bands inside? which
Okay,
should be
so what we just removed, and these things have this like little, it's a pry point. Well, I don't know if you want to call it that, but anyway, it's like a little locking spot on there.
Yeah.
And once you get behind there, you can pry this part out, and now you can see the torques.
Very viewable once that little thing's out of the way.
Okay.
So all these have grease in them, and they're just
You can't see them, right?
Yeah, some are holes and some are bits. This little T20. This should allow us to get to the 54 millimeter hub nut. And that will actually release the CV axle from the van.
It'll just be floating free in there.
So these are semi-float. So I don't know do you know the difference between a
No.
semi and a full?
No, tell us.
Full a
Tell
full
me.
float axle means you can take the shaft out, and the vehicle weight, or the axle shaft itself, takes no weight of the vehicle. And there's advantages to having that in the rear, but on a front of most independent vehicles, even front-wheel drive, or any four-wheel drive, the weight semi-floats on the axle, so it sits on the bearings. You have weights that sit on the bearings,
wow.
and so
Okay.
that means if we were to undo this, let's say we had damage, you could not take the CV shaft out and leave it out to drive home, like limp home,
Okay.
if you broke this shaft. It would need you to cut the CV shaft and leave the spindle, leave this guy,
Yeah.
taking some of that weight, as well as the bearings that we'll get to, the wheel hub bearings.
I didn't even know you could do that.
You can. I did it on Tacoma one time. It's not pleasant.
All right.
That is that guy. And you can see
so that is what the
this is the outer section of the clutch. It was a little loose.
oh wow.
probably looser than he should be.
Maybe more than I probably would be comfortable with. And so that's just a big flat nut with, this one has a washer made onto it.
Okay.
I don't know if that's specific, probably is specific to the hubs.
Okay.
For the automatic hubs.
Gotcha.
I'm just gonna do a little cleaning, and I got some fresh grease to repack, and it's okay to mix a little old and new in there. But yeah, so that's our front. This silver that you see, that's the inner race for your wheel bearings. Mine look like they're good. You could, at this point, if I wanted to do a full service onto my wheel bearings, I could pull those out, repack them. For right now, because I'll probably end up switching wheels, tires, and doing some other stuff, I'll repack them later. Especially going to manual, it'll be easier to kind of clean out. So this will give me a chance just to really clean what's here, and we'll get the new one installed.
Cool. So once you put the manual in, you can just disconnect whatever your button was up top, or I mean,
there's nothing mechanical in here that if a person accidentally like pushed a button or something, it's not going to do anything.
It won't hurt it one bit. Even so, in the case of mine being an automatic, it is push button. That'll still engage the transfer case, but if my hubs are on free, it won't hurt anything. I'll see the light, and that's not, I'll get worse gas mileage because it's trying to spin the front axle. But it won't bind, and that's the biggest issue with real four-wheel drive and not all-wheel drive, is that binding. So you should have, for each hub, 2 54mm nuts, flat washer, and a star washer, which we're going to use to bend. We'll bend one of these little tabs to lock things in place.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So we'll collect those.
Awesome.
And you want to make sure your hub is set to free before you start install. I choose wheel bearing grease, the high temp red stuff, mainly because it lasts a little better with, and I mean, I use it for everything.
Friction and heat and everything else.
It handles it a lot better. So
will any of this get past the seals on the bearings and actually penetrate down into there as they're used?
Yeah, because it's not a sealed bearing.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's an open race, which is why I'm kind of being liberal with.
Yeah, because it'll suck into that.
Right. This guy, and he is indexed. You want to make sure your index is on the top of your hub. You can see it's a similar index to this. This lines right up on top. And then you have your first nut. And we're going to put that on, and you want to get it started manually. Make sure it catches. Use your nut to run him on down, and you want to make sure your torque is correct on these, because if they are not and that hub is loose, you will eat those bearings.
Oh wow.
And that's the big, I'm sure the manual hub has a prevention because of the way it's designed, but manual, you have to have that torque set. So it's torque to 18 to 20 pounds on the first one. So that sounds like that's so light because you don't want to crush your bearing.
Yes.
That bearing needs to be able to run free. I'm a big fan of going on the higher end of those torque specs.
I did that too with something I was just working on recently. It's just like, it was a transmission pan.
Bolts.
Yeah, getting the bolts all back on after replacing the gasket, and just like go onto that top side.
Okay.
Cool.
And you want to, so with this guy, the way he's designed is to hold the hub in. You actually want to take a flathead screwdriver.
Yep.
And a hammer.
And then tap it?
And then just tap it over. So what that does is, once I torque down this one, you really want 2 of them. We're good there, and so this one is torqued to 58. Just give it just a little check, because I don't always trust the exactness of a Walmart
Yes. Yeah.
torque wrench.
Does it matter which way is up and which way is
It should not.
down?
You just got to make sure you don't cross thread your splines.
Right.
There it is.
So this we're putting the cone washers back in. So did you ever work at a dealership, or just do like your own work, or work for friends kind of stuff when it came to the Land Rover stuff?
Mainly just work for friends and help out where I can. My main thing is just that outdoor rec.
What all does that entail? Like you said something about training?
So I teach, whitewater kayaking, rock climbing,
Right.
Mountain biking, backpacking, bushcraft.
Okay.
Those things, as well as recreational event management.
Okay.
I host a big event called Smoky Mountain Overland Rally that's right in Cosby. You
Okay.
passed it on the way here.
Is that like every year?
Every year, it's in April.
Okay.
And this year, to push van kind of engagement, we're going to really try to market to some of the van.
Okay.
Not just Toyota, but just hopefully get some Volkswagens out. You know, it's got a big vendor section, so if you need a fridge, you can get a fridge, or if you need to, set up a time at a shop, you can do that.
That's cool.
All right, we'll torque those in a minute, but
Okay.
I think that's going to help us. This guy. So that guy should go. So I'm tapping as kind of like an impact to get a little more oomph.
Right. On each turn.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I don't really need that to be super tight.
Yep.
See? Free hub.
Cool.
Spinning.
Yep.
No engagement.
Oh, gotcha. So this is when it's free, it will twist in there.
See, you can hear it's engaging. It's trying to twist the other side.
So this is when he's spinning that on the outside, showing that it's not locked. Your CV joint is twisting.
And then this.
So what we found is Tommy just spun this thing around. It goes in a very specific way. Yeah.
Like
cool.
that.
Okay, good.
That kind of sets up our front here. I want to hit these with a torque wrench.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Just out of good practice.
Absolutely. And while it's easy to get at too.
Right, because once
having
that
cap on there, it makes it really hard to get at it.
once that hub is on.
Yep.
And there was no torque spec given for these.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna say, based on steel, let's go up to like 65, because there's no load. So really, you could just kind of go hard
Oh, okay.
on it.
That's good to know.
If you're, steel on aluminum or things like that for rims,
Yep.
that can change that, but because those cone washers have to be seated.
Yep. This is where I would be sweating. I'd be like, I'm gonna snap it.
Kind of watching the crush wash or the cone washers,
Right.
and just looking at where they started, like when we really began this process.
Oh, got you. Because they've got a little mark probably in them almost.
Yeah, see that one's kicking grease, so I'd say
Gotcha.
we're probably actually pretty good
Where we
there.
need to be. There it
Right
is.
there.
Cool. Nice.
And these are 10 millimeter.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, look at that. And these don't take any weight, so these are snug plus a quarter is how I would do them and how I've done in the past on manual hubs. And then we'll just hit these guys real quick with a, just make sure he's snug.
Cool.
And so we'll want to test it. If you want to grab that axle shaft or the CV shaft.
Oh, just like handhold?
Mm-hmm. Just
Okay.
grab it with your hand if you want a paper towel around it and just twist it.
Okay.
See if there's play. There, in theory, should be no play right now, or there should be free movement.
Okay. And just see if it'll turn.
Yep.
Yeah, it's twisting.
All the way around.
Yes.
All right. Stop.
Okay. You gotta lock it.
All right. Now.
That's it.
Okay. Stop.
And not twist it.
Okay. Stop.
Okay.
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 You may have to rock it back and
Nope,
forth.
It's free.
All right.
Cool. It worked.
And now we just repeat the process on side 2.
Nice. So what I just did is Tommy had me go like underneath where the CV joint is. Axle? CV axle?
axle?
Yeah, CV axle. And with it in free, what you want to do is get a hold of it and turn it, twist it by hand, and it will twist. Then he locked it, twisted it again, and you could hear it snap into a locked position with no movement. Unlocked it one more time, spun it again free, so it's all cool. So we're gonna turn the van around, and this is how Tommy has set up his rear.
So you have
That is the swiveling bike
ladder.
rack.
Yeah, ladder with bike rack on it.
Oh,
so
ladder too. Okay, cool. You integrated the two.
Yeah, so you kind of have the option of bikes, or you can just take these off and then it's still a ladder to get up to the tent if
nice.
you need that. And then this is a cooler and spare, and then these will be camp lights or reverse lights when I get to that point. I just haven't wired them yet.
Awesome.
And those,
Man, that worked out
Lock in.
perfectly.
all right.
A sweet little van. That went, I mean, what would you consider? That was what, took us how long to do that? Took you how long to do that?
Yeah, hour and 15 to an hour and 30 is
Yeah.
probably what that was.
So-
And we were purposely kind of taking our time with that one.
Yeah.
So
So, I mean, maybe an assumption would be if you have no problems and you don't run into any kind of like weird anomalies, probably an hour
yeah.
per wheel. One of the questions was, is that kit was specifically for a 4Runner, correct?
That was
When you
yes.
bought it? So that tells you one thing, the 4Runner will work on the van as far as it locking in place and doing what it's supposed to do. There's not been any signs that that's not gonna work.
The big important piece to remember is if you buy the manual hubs,
Yeah.
to buy the washer and nut kit
Okay.
with it, because it doesn't come standard.
Okay.
I got those from a company called Cruiser Outfitters.
Oh, okay. I wonder if
And,
the dealers even sell that stuff anymore.
They do.
The Toyota dealership?
Yeah, you can still get them from the dealer. And, you know, Rock Auto has the hubs. Cruiser Outfitters definitely has the whole setup, and
Okay.
they're really educated, so I like working with them.
Yes.
The price difference wasn't enough for me to worry about.
Okay.
So, and they're good people.
Okay.
They're out in Utah.
That's cool.
We forgot to put the retaining clip back on the other side.
Oh no!
It's okay. We'll tear
You
it
just
apart.
pop it apart and put it on?
Yeah, it's really not bad. I just realized
So
that.
it's the, it's that guy. Right?
Yeah, that flat washer and that, remember the one we used the screwdriver to go?
You're right.
That's got to go back on.
Okay.
We'll tear him back down here in a minute. But the nice thing is we don't have to do any of the crush washer or none of that should have to come off. I don't know. I'll see on this one.
Cool.
I'll know real quick. So this is it's a splined washer.
Okay, that's right.
And then just a retaining clip.
Okay.
And this just holds the axle shaft out so it
Okay.
doesn't have lateral
I
movement.
gotcha. That's what we had to wrestle off with the 2 screwdrivers before.
Yes. I might need you to push the axle shaft towards me
Okay.
from the bottom of the truck.
Yep. I will do that. That'll work. Okay.
You're gonna feel me push against you.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, push one hard time. Ready? 1, 2, 3, push. Okay. Does that look seated to you? Try
Yeah.
to move the shaft in and out.
Yeah, it's good. It's not moving really. No, it's good. We just timed it. Tommy said like 30 minutes on that wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a little bit more on the other wheel because of the retaining ring and the splined washer. We forgot to put that on.
Yeah.
But that's taking it apart and putting it back together. I mean, it's pretty quick.
Yeah, that was pretty user friendly too, and
Yeah.
no big issues.
So
Yeah.
now it's ready to test. right?
Yes.
Are you gonna go drive it?
Yeah, we can go drive down the road and then go out
Okay.
to the field and go
Okay.
out in the woods.
Let's go see how it works.
Take it real soon. You know we got what you need, baby. So take it, move along. I said we got what you need, honey. Come and groove along. Come on. Rolling on that highway, ease up. Wow. Come on, and move along. Come on, said babe. I said babe. Oh honey, come and move along. You gotta feel it. Yeah, you gotta move along. Gotta feel it.
Looks like his four-wheel drive is doing just great, and I'm assuming this is a log down here I'm about to have to roll over, or rocks or something. So, yikes. Hopefully I didn't just put a hole in something.
Make sure now that I know I'm in four-wheel drive, I don't have to worry about it, the front axle suddenly deciding it doesn't need to be.
That's awesome.
So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
That's awesome.
So it worked out really well.
Yeah.
And it's been forever since this thing has been on anything like that. So I'm impressed, as long as there's not a big pool of oil when we park.
Right, right.
It's been an amazing day.
Yeah.
So thank you, Tommy.
Thank you.
coming along for the trip.
That's
Who
awesome.
knows what'll happen in the future? So stick around and we'll see what happens on the next one.
Let's do this.
Tell me what your plan is with this again, kind of like on camera. So what were you telling me about this with this rear window that you're thinking about doing?
So since I'm going to build a cabinet that will block viewable access here on the inside, I have a friend who builds steel panels very similar to VWs and things like that. I want to carefully take out the glass and replace it with a steel panel. That then will be an opportunity for shovel, high lift, maybe a set of traction boards, things like that. If you are off-road or if you just need access to things, this gets you taken care of.
Cool. That's awesome.
Kind of usable space.
Yeah, that's really cool.
We got
very cool.
Awesome sticker. We're gonna throw that on this window since it's probably gonna be a while before I get that design.
Very cool. Toyota Vanland.
That's awesome.
So, thanks, Tommy.
Thanks.
Enjoyed it.
This has been great.
Yeah.